Germany, a nation that rose, fell, rebuilt, and rose again. A land shaped by tribes, empires, wars, division, innovation, and some of the most powerful stories in human history. Today, we uncover how Germany became Germany, from its earliest roots to the global superpower it is today. So, join us as we journey through time, exploring the epic saga of a nation at the very heart of Europe. Our story begins long before Germany was even called Germany. The continent was a vibrant, often volatile, patchwork of cultures. Roaming the dense forests and fertile river valleys north of the Alps were dozens of distinct Germanic tribes. You might recognize some of their names from history books: the Saxons, the Franks, the Goths, the Vandals, and many more. These weren't just nomadic wanderers. They were settled communities with their own languages, gods, and laws. They farmed the land, forged iron, and developed complex social structures. But what really defined them in the eyes of history was their fierce independence and their legendary resistance against the greatest superpower of the ancient world, the Roman Empire. For centuries, the Rhine and Danube rivers formed a tense border, a frontier between two worlds. The Romans saw the people on the other side as barbarians, but the Germanic tribes saw themselves as protectors of their homeland, a place they called Germania. The famous Battle of the Teutoburg Forest in 09 AD, where 3 Roman legions were completely annihilated, was a stunning testament to their military prowess and a permanent roadblock to Rome's expansion into northern Europe. This centuries-long struggle shaped not only the fate of the tribes, but also the future map of the continent. Centuries passed, and the Western Roman Empire eventually crumbled, partly due to the relentless migrations and invasions of these same Germanic tribes. From this chaotic power vacuum, new kingdoms emerged. The most powerful of these belonged to the Franks, and their greatest ruler was a man who would change the course of European history forever: Charlemagne. On Christmas Day in the year 800 AD, Pope Leo III placed a crown on Charlemagne's head in Rome, declaring him emperor. This act revived the idea of a unified Christian empire in the West and marked the beginning of what would later be known as the Holy Roman Empire. Now, let's be clear, this was not Germany as we know it. It was a sprawling, decentralized collection of duchies, kingdoms, and free cities, all loosely bound together under the emperor's authority. For nearly 1,000 years, this complex political entity dominated Central Europe. It was the backdrop for the Crusades, the stage for power struggles between popes and emperors, and the cradle of the Protestant Reformation. While it wasn't a unified nation-state, the Holy Roman Empire laid the essential cultural, linguistic, and political foundations for the future German-speaking world. As the centuries rolled by, the Holy Roman Empire became increasingly fragmented. Power shifted from the emperor to hundreds of local princes and lords. Within this patchwork of states, one began to distinguish itself through discipline, ambition, and military might. Prussia, originally a small duchy on the Baltic coast, Prussia's rise to prominence began in earnest in the 17th and 18th centuries under the leadership of the Hohenzollern dynasty. Rulers like Frederick the Great transformed Prussia from a minor state into a major European power. He wasn't just a brilliant military strategist who expanded Prussia's borders. He was also a patron of the arts and Enlightenment, earning him the title the Philosopher King. But it was Prussia's army that truly set it apart. It was renowned for its iron discipline, advanced tactics, and professional officer corps. This military machine became the engine of Prussian ambition, and it positioned the kingdom to play the leading role in a monumental, long-awaited event: the unification of Germany. The dream of a single German nation had been stirring for generations, fueled by a shared language, culture, and a growing sense of nationalism during the Napoleonic Wars. But it would take a political genius, a master of realpolitik, to make that dream a reality. That man was Otto von Bismarck. As minister-president of Prussia, Bismarck pursued a policy of blood and iron. He wasn't interested in speeches or majority votes. He believed unification would be achieved through strategic wars and true diplomacy. He provoked 3 short, decisive conflicts against Denmark, Austria, and finally, France. The victory in the Franco-Prussian War was the final catalyst. On January 18, 1871, in a moment dripping with symbolism, the German Empire was proclaimed in the magnificent Hall of Mirrors at the Palace of Versailles, the former seat of French royal power. Wilhelm I of Prussia was named the first German emperor, or Kaiser. For the first time in history, Germany was a single, unified, and powerful nation-state. But this newfound unity did not bring lasting peace. The late 19th and early 20th centuries were a time of intense industrialization, colonial ambition, and a complex web of military alliances across Europe. Germany, now an economic and military powerhouse, was at the center of it all. Tension simmered for years, and in the summer of 1914, the assassination of an Austro-Hungarian archduke lit the fuse. Germany entered World War I, expecting a quick victory. Instead, the conflict bogged down into 4 devastating years of trench warfare, unimaginable slaughter, and economic ruin. By 1918, the German Empire was on its knees. The Kaiser abdicated, and the empire collapsed. In its place, a new, democratic government was born, the Weimar Republic. It was a bold experiment in democracy, but it was born out of defeat and humiliation, forced to accept the harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles. The Weimar Republic was plagued by problems from its very first day. Hyperinflation made money worthless, political divisions ran deep, and many Germans felt a profound sense of national shame. This climate of economic despair and political chaos created a fertile breeding ground for extremism. A charismatic and fanatical leader named Adolf Hitler and his Nazi party skillfully exploited the public's anger and fears. They promised to restore Germany's greatness, to overturn the Treaty of Versailles, and to find scapegoats for the nation's problems. In 1933, through a combination of political maneuvering and intimidation, Hitler was appointed chancellor. The Nazis swiftly dismantled democracy, turning Germany into a brutal totalitarian regime. They began a program of aggressive territorial expansion and systematic persecution, which ultimately plunged the world into the Second World War. This conflict became one of the darkest and most destructive chapters in all of human history, leading to immense suffering and loss on a global scale. By the spring of 1945, the war in Europe was over. But Germany, the nation that started it, lay in absolute ruins. Its cities were vast landscapes of rubble, bombed into oblivion. Its economy was shattered. Its people were displaced, starving, and grappling with the horrific moral catastrophe of the Nazi regime. The cost was staggering: millions of lives lost, a continent devastated, and a nation soul-scarred. The victorious Allied powers, the United States, the Soviet Union, Britain, and France occupied the country. But their wartime alliance quickly fractured, giving way to the ideological struggle of the Cold War. As a result, Germany itself was about to be split in two, becoming a front line in the new global conflict between East and West. The nation's journey was far from over. But from the ashes of destruction, from the very depths of despair, a new Germany, or rather, two Germanys began to rise, setting the stage for a dramatic new chapter of division, reunion, and rebirth. Have you ever wondered how a country torn apart by war could become the powerhouse of Europe? The story of Germany is one of the most dramatic transformations in modern history. From the ashes of World War II, this nation didn't just rebuild, it reinvented itself. Let's explore how Germany went from a divided land to a global leader. After the devastating end of World War II, the victorious Allied powers, the United States, the United Kingdom, France, and the Soviet Union divided Germany into 4 occupation zones. This was meant to be temporary, a way to manage the country's transition. But soon, the ideological rift between the West and the Soviet Union, known as the Cold War, turned these temporary lines into a hard border. In 1949, this division became official. The three zones controlled by the Western Allies merged to form the Federal Republic of Germany, commonly known as West Germany. It was established as a parliamentary democracy with a capitalist market economy. Its new capital was the city of Bonn. Meanwhile, the Soviet-controlled zone became the German Democratic Republic, or East Germany, a socialist state aligned with Moscow, with East Berlin as its capital. The city of Berlin itself was a microcosm of this division. Located deep inside East German territory, it was also split into 4 sectors. West Berlin became an island of freedom and capitalism surrounded by a sea of communism. This unique situation created a point of friction and a beacon of hope. Thousands of East Germans, seeking freedom and better economic opportunities, fled to the west through the porous border in Berlin. To stop this exodus, the East German government, with Soviet backing, took a drastic step. On the night of August 13, 1961, they began constructing the Berlin Wall. What started as barbed wire fences quickly grew into a massive concrete barrier, complete with guard towers and a deadly death strip. The wall sealed the border and physically embodied the Iron Curtain that Churchill had spoken of. For nearly 30 years, it stood as a brutal symbol of division, separating families, friends, and a nation. While East Germany struggled under a centrally planned socialist economy, West Germany was experiencing something spectacular. This period is known as the Wirtschaftswunder, or the economic miracle. With the help of the Marshall Plan from the United States and a commitment to a social market economy, West Germany's economy boomed. From the 1950s into the 1960s, its gross domestic product grew at an astonishing average of 8% per year. Industries that would become world famous were at the heart of this growth. Think of the automotive sector, with brands like Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz, and BMW leading the charge. The VW Beetle, in particular, became an icon of West German recovery and a beloved car around the world. The engineering and chemical industries also flourished, making Made in Germany a global benchmark for quality and innovation. This economic success not only improved the lives of West Germans, but also solidified the country's position as a key player in Western Europe. But, as the decades passed, the cracks in the Eastern Bloc began to show. By the late 1980s, the Soviet Union's economy was faltering, and movements for reform were gaining momentum across its satellite states. In 1989, a wave of peaceful revolutions swept through Eastern Europe. The climax came on the evening of November 9, 1989, following a confusing announcement by an East German official. Thousands of East Berliners gathered at the checkpoints along the Berlin Wall. Overwhelmed and without clear orders, the border guards opened the gates. The world watched in disbelief as people flooded across the border, celebrating with tears and champagne. Strangers hugged, and people from both East and West climbed onto the wall, chipping away at the hated symbol with hammers and chisels. It was a night of pure euphoria, a moment where history was being made live on television screens around the globe. The fall of the Berlin Wall didn't just end 28 years of physical separation. It signaled the imminent collapse of communism in Europe and the end of the Cold War. With the wall gone, the question of reunification became urgent. The process was swift. Less than a year later, on October 3, 1990, the German Democratic Republic was dissolved, and its territory was absorbed into the Federal Republic of Germany. Germany was whole again. This day is now celebrated as German Unity Day, a national holiday. But reunification was not just a political act. It was a monumental economic and social challenge. Decades of socialism had left the East German economy and infrastructure far behind the West. The reunified German government embarked on a massive, long-term project to rebuild the East. Billions of dollars were invested in modernizing roads, communications, and industries, and in integrating the people of the former East into the new, unified Germany. It was a costly and sometimes difficult process, but it was a necessary step toward forging a single national identity. So, where does Germany stand today? The journey has been remarkable. Today, A unified Germany is the undisputed economic powerhouse of Europe. With a GDP of around $4.4 trillion, it has the largest economy on the continent and the fourth largest in the world. Its population of about 84 million people enjoys a high standard of living. The nation remains a global leader in exports, particularly in its traditional strengths: cars, machinery, and chemical products. Global corporations like Siemens, SAP, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz are household names that represent German engineering and innovation. As a leading member of the European Union, Germany plays a crucial role in shaping the political and economic direction of the continent. From its modern cities like Berlin and Munich to its cutting-edge tech labs and bustling factories, Germany is a picture of progress and stability. From a land of ancient tribes and powerful medieval empires, through the darkness of 2 world wars, the pain of division, and the joy of rebirth, Germany's story is one of profound transformation. It is a nation that has confronted its dark past honestly and used those lessons to build a future based on democracy, peace, and cooperation. The journey from the rubble of 1945 to its status as a respected global leader, a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the possibility of unity and progress. Germany today stands not just as an economic giant, but as a symbol of how a nation can heal, rebuild, and ultimately thrive. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that shape our world.